Thanks, Ed. There's the team. Some big changes for Carlton. Important players too, Jimmy. Brody Kemp, Mitch McGovern joined the defence where they were a bit weak last week. Hollands for more run. Jack Martin changes their forward dynamics and obviously some big outs as well.
Yeah, and Kemp and McGovern will be really important when we highlight Jacob Wiedering in this matchup, of course, at the MCG. They're both sides. They played close encounters. Last 3 games, only one team has got past 80 points, being the Blues. An
issue for Carlton is they only had 5 goal kickers last week, so I'm putting it on the midfield of Carlton to start scoring some more goals, to take pressure off Mackay and Curnow and De Koning and these types. So, Cripps, can you become a goal-a-game player, which is nearly there? Kennedy, but look at that, Chera, Hewitt and Sam Walsh hit the scoreboard a little more.
And the other factor too is if you put all your time and energy into Mackay and Curnow, you're asking all these guys to try and beat you, which is a lot difficult task because they don't push forward, as you mentioned. So you can imagine Melbourne with their great defence and team defence, narrow in, under 5 goals, goes a long way to you beating the Blues.
Jim, we all love May and Lever, but there's some unheralded Ds that are travelling pretty well.
Yeah, every time you hear a Melbourne player speak in the media, they want to highlight McDonald, Howes and also McVie. And we've highlighted them here, just great intercept play. And what it allows the other two to do is Lever's in great form, May's a super player. They get to play their natural role. They can intercept and watch the game. But you can only do it if these guys play the team defence or the tough defence. This is on Jeremy Cameron here. McDonald just tosses him out of the way, intercept marks, but they all work so well as a unit. I just really wanted to highlight this. This is team defence. This is how Melbourne is nailing opposition. This is still playing on very good players, but being proactive. So Howes comes across, I think, or Howes it is, and then it's McVie who rolls off his direct opponent. Stengel's a dangerous player, but look at every other position. This is called fighting for the outside or getting best position. That's how you work together as a unit.
And this is the barometer for Melbourne. Like, this is someone who Carlton, whether it's Nick Newman or who else we were talking about? Boyd could get the job on him. But look at this. He's played 6 times this year because Isaiah Pickett, and they've won 6 times. With the 2 he's missed, they've lost. And there's Collar Jasny. We wanted to highlight, you must keep constant touch. He switches off for a split second. He loses him, he should have stayed with him, and he just punishes you. The next one, young Jordan Clark, he should have been with him here. It looks like he looks to run off to the interchange bench.
Down the bottom.
Looks to come off. And they say, no, don't come, don't leave Cozzy yet. And you just give him this time and space, Jimmy, and he makes you absolutely pay.
Yeah, everyone wants to be proactive, especially in the back line. They all want to try and rebound, but there's just some guys, once they get inside forward 50, you've just got to defend, make sure he's put away, and then you can join in attack after that.
And you want to see Wiedering play a little bit different, or they potentially free him up this week?
I think this guy is as in good a form as he's been in his career, and that's saying something because he's been magnificent. And what I love about him is he takes any type, direct opponent, that's Elliott, which he helps Williams out. But look at his starting points. He's on his direct opponent, still owns best position, still helps his team out. But this weekend, I think the opportunity with Kemp and McGovern coming in is actually freeing him up just this week because he's such a good intercept mark. He's so strong. He knows when to come off and help his teammates. Again, look at this. That's on Tom Hawkins. Sees the play. He's gone too far into the play and peels off. Hawkins is too deep. I can come peel off. I think it can be an opportunity for them this week to get that quick rebound before Melbourne gets set in their defence. Again, rolls off his direct opponent. I think it was Henry that stage, and intercepts the footy.
Along with Sam Taylor. I think he plays the right way better than any other player. But I love Carlton's ins, but I'm going to tip Melbourne in a close one, Jim.
I think Melbourne are going really well. They just need to factor of a score, get a score about 70 points, which might be enough for them.
The Coleman medal, the Norm Smith medal, Brownlow medal is Jimmy Bartel. Matthew Lloyd.
What a huge challenge it is, Jimmy, for Port Adelaide heading down to Geelong this Friday night.
Yeah, another big top 4 clash, or final 8 clash down there. They haven't won down at GMHBA since 2007, Lloydie. If they are going to win, they're going to need a big lift from a certain group.
Yeah, you look at the 2 forward lines for both teams, and I just trust this Geelong forward line. And they didn't have their best night last week against Melbourne, but look at that. Cameron, 19, you're comparing that to Dixon. Ollie Henry, 18, comparing that to Todd Marshall. Stengel, Rioli, Close, Burn Jones, and then Tomahawk, who's only kicked the 9 goals against Georgiades and Finlayson. And Sheeds used to take us off the ground for one reason, and that was if you get outmarked as a forward. And last week, Port Adelaide in the showdown just got outmarked far too many times. And these are guys trying to find their feet. Worrell, Keane, these types of players, Michael Annie, those types, they're just outmarked Port too often.
Yeah, just need to, as you said, bring it to ground, bring the others into play, but it actually allows you to lock the ball inside your forward 50. Opposition now just rebounds so quickly, and some body contact there. A bit better from Marshall, be better.
Just not good enough. And you head down to Geelong, and they're going to be up against Zach Guthrie, and they're going to be up against Tom Stewart. So they'll do this all night long if they don't compete better.
Well, I've gone the other end of the ground, Lloydie, and ground balls has been a big issue for Port's backs. They brought in the tall backs, Zirk Thatcher and obviously Radicalia, but when the ball hits the ground, they're getting absolutely lit up. You go back to the Collingwood game and all games during the year, once it hits the ground, they just got no spread or no run and carry from these ground ball situations. And the opposition believes if they can get the ball to ground, they can score heavily on Port Adelaide. This is when Collingwood got running on fire. And you think they've got a great small forward group. What have the Cats got? They've got some dynamic small forwards. Myers, Stengel, Close. They, once the ball hits the ground, can really hurt you on the scoreboard. And I'd love to see them maybe even consider throwing Darcy Byrne-Jones back. I know he's been good up forward, but he was an All-Australian back and is very good at ground level. Again, ball hits the ground, it's a live situation, and sides just play the handball drills, the three-man weave or draw a player in, and they can get easy goals on Port.
They're going to play for longer, Port Adelaide, particularly in Geelong. Max Holmes, what a star he has been for Geelong this year, one of the biggest improvers in the game, and it's the run, the carry, the drive off half-back, and it's one of the reasons they've improved is because of Max Holmes.
Yeah, it's the 70-metre players, and every side wants them. He's gone down to half-back a lot more than when he's been on the wing and on ball in previous years, but it's this ability to get out of your back half. Good sides, they can turn the footy over, but it's almost like a race to get back up to the logos because opposition squeeze in and really lock you inside your forward 50, and he just breaks the lines, but he's added some elements to his game, a little bit of body work, craft, moves up the ground, and you throw that in with the mix of, you mentioned Stewart, and you throw in Guthrie as well. This gives some rebound. And on the flip side, this guy we keep talking about, Kane Farrell, is a great kick. I want him to be a very good player where the opposition puts time into, and they don't do it at the moment. He needs to actually look at someone like Max Holmes, who's now getting 25, even 30 touches. If he gets the ball in his hand 25, 30 times, Farrell, which means he's got to run a bit harder and they've got to give him the ball as well. He could rip sides apart.
Yeah, let's just hope Port can make a game of it against a side on the rebound in Geelong. The second one we'll look at is the Giants and the Bombers at Marvel Stadium. And this would be the Bombers' biggest win, I think, of the season if they can win this game of footy. Because you look at who they've beaten. They've beaten 16th, 14th, 11th, 12th. Drawn with the Pies is a wonderful game. And they've beaten 15th. So this would be their biggest scalp, beating the Giants.
Well, these are the numbers that the Bombers should have up on the board. And this is when the Giants have been beaten. And it's been around the hard physical stuff. Not the tsunami. It's the physical stuff. Tackle efficiency. Tackles are broken. Contested footy. The real hard-nosed stuff at the coalface. And the ground ball differential. And that's when, you know, from a stoppage or a clearance or the ball's bobbling out, you just spread from it. And so look at the difference between wins and losses for the Giants. Essendon should be targeting this, how to beat the Giants.
Yeah, and it's Durham and Caldwell who have been two of the biggest improvers in the game. We don't think Tom Green's going to play in this game. No Canelio most likely. So it gives them a golden opportunity around the ball, with Durham and Caldwell playing as well as they are. So beat them at the contest, you win the game. Sydney just embarrassed the Giants in this area, so it's a big opportunity for the Giants.
And if you're Zach Merritt, you'd be looking at the recent history this year against the Giants. The best players have had their way against the Giants this year. Look at this, we've highlighted nearly every round, opening round onwards, probably the only game they're able to stop Lachie Neale. But they've all had a field day, over 30 touches. Yo, 27 is just as good with a goal, but everyone has filled their boots. And
so who are you setting for him, Jim?
I think it might be a job for Peatling, who played a lot of midfield minutes. He's disciplined. You can give him the job because this guy's fantastic. You love Zach Merritt. I love watching the way he plays his footy. Hitting the scoreboard now, 3 goals. But he's one of those guys, when you see kick the footy, you go, that just comes off different. He's a star.
Yeah, I think he's the best kick in the game. And there's some beautiful kicks in this game, but I think he is as good as it gets. So you'd love to be a forward leading to him. And he kicked 3 goals as well last week, which was sensational. And you've been impressed with a Giant who's gone to another level.
He has gone to another level, and it's gone about it quietly. I think when he signed the big contract, we're all expecting these sort of numbers. In the last 2 years, he's been going about his business, plays out on the wing, comes inside, and nearly all statistical areas, but we've highlighted these 4 in particular. He's in the top 4 for the Giants in nearly everything, and I love the fact that he's hitting the scoreboard as well because he's got that class and polish.
Andrew McGrath was drafted at pick 1, and it's a lot of pressure that comes with it, and he's been questioned at times, but he's found his best role again off the half-back flank, and Oh, I think he'd be close to the All-Australian backman at this stage. I know there's a lot in that mix, but he's in awesome form. I would have actually given him the Anzac Day medal, how good I thought he was, and he's just continued that on last week.
I agree with that, Lloydie. And often when we have a star young player come in, start on a half-back flank or a wing or half-forward, we want to make him a mid. He's an excellent half-back flanker who, by the end of his career, could be a multiple All-Australian half-back flank. I think leave him there. He takes the opposition's best and he's damaging.
They're a huge chance of Bombers, but I didn't have the courage. I went with the Giants.
Yeah, I've got the courage. I'll go with the Giants.
Good on you, boys.